Hello, welcome to the Daily Live. Sean Dyche has just finished this press conference, which was full of weak questions. But obviously everyone was over at the Endo unveiling at Liverpool, all the normal journalists. Yeah. Julia asked some good questions, and is it Will? I think Will at the end asked some good questions as well. The others were a little bit weak.
B-team.
How's Dominic after giving birth?
Yeah. When you go to a press conference, right, can people not just ask the first question, like the most important question, which is Dominic Calvert-Lewin available for Sunday? That's it, isn't it? No. Is he adjusted to being a dad and all this? From that manager, you're joking, aren't you? He'll just give you
who cares
short
anyway?
shrift.
It's up to Dominic, isn't it?
Is he fit? Yes or no? That's the only question anyone wants us an answer to. Who else is fit? They're the only questions. Because you can do all the lifestyle ones afterwards. Find out about soft furnishings.
Get your job done early.
Honest to God.
Get it done.
Annoying. Absolutely annoying.
It done. Can I just say something?
Say it.
First and foremost, right? The Adams that is joining Bournemouth is Tyler Adams, the Leeds United midfield player. Not Che Adams, who is probably coming to Everton. It's Tyler Adams. Just so it's out the way.
Okay.
Just done.
I thought it was Wednesday Adams.
Could be there. Could be here. Maybe they're getting all the Adams, but the one they're not getting is Che Everton Adams. There you go. Oh, why's he made up there? Incredible. Sean Dyche did say that Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I think he actually said he's starting on Sunday.
He didn't.
He said, yeah, he didn't say it. He's finished 90 minutes and he's in the thinking.
No, he didn't say he's starting.
It means he's starting. You watch. Mopai won't.
You said
start.
This last week and then got a big cover when he didn't play.
Well, that was just because it was bad management.
You went, yeah, but what he said was actually he's playing.
He just said he's in the thinking for something.
Let's leave it at that.
Last week he wasn't in the thinking.
Leave it at that.
Come start. Well, then he'll
he's obviously going to be part of the squad and he's going to be available.
Where do we think Mopai's going to go?
Salache.
No, where? Where do you think, France or Italy? He won't be staying. Neil Mopai won't be at Everton on September the 1st, mate. Yeah. Sure, I did mean, yeah.
I think he'll go on loan.
I think he'll go to France.
I think he'll go on loan.
Do you? Yeah. Fair play, Ned. You've said it live on the 18th that you think Neil Mopai will be an Everton player when the window shuts. Fair play to you. I don't. Everton aren't carrying 4 strikers, guarantee you.
I think he'll go on loan.
They're not carrying 4. Because they're not. They're not going to have 4. We play 1 up front. We're not having 3. Everton have never had 3 centre forwards sub ever.
We have 4 strikers that all score 3 goals each. That's 12 goals. How many goals did our strikers have last season? Between 3 of them.
So why is someone who got 1 last year going to get 3 this year?
Because Dyche said patience.
He's not going to be here at the end of the
Can you show you're working out?
Yeah. 3 plus 3 is 6. Plus 3 is 9. Plus 3 is 12.
Fair play.
He did say Mikalenko's still got a bit to do. He also said Dan Zuma's got a bit to do. But so that means he's probably still sub, isn't he? Because he's not up to where he wants him to be. Dwight McNeil's
not even on the grass.
No, doing bits, but he's not on the grass yet. And obviously Jack Harrison has said himself it'll be probably after the international break. So that is where we are. It's only really Dom then, isn't it, for this weekend? Do you expect any changes to the back 4?
No. I don't. Yeah. I think it's too soon for Blanthwaite in his thinking. Certainly with this.
Played the other day, didn't he?
Certainly with this programme. The manager, it's hard, isn't it? Because we're always like, when a manager comes in, and Sean Dyche is a new manager because this is his first summer, this is his first pre-season, so you're always learning about them, and you've got to learn those little things. And we've never had time to get to know a manager properly. So, but you've got to learn those things, haven't you? And what something our manager clearly is very hot on is players having a full pre-season, no shortcuts.
Yeah.
If you bought, I mentioned this with Schmitty, if you bought and you haven't done a pre-season, you've got to do a pre-season. Until your pre-season's done, you're not anywhere near the team, as in starting the team. And you've got to go through a programme, and it's rigorous, and it's all obviously properly tailored to whoever the player is. And we're just going to have to get, well, maybe used to it. But we're going to have to get used to that, aren't we? As you know, and you're learning that all the time, and it's a case of understanding that if a player's out injured as well, there's no shortcuts to coming back.
Yeah.
You know, and that'll be the same with Harrison. That'll be the same with McMessi. It'll be the same for everyone. It'll be you do your program. Michalenko's similar, and Branthwaite is part of that. To go back to the original question, Branthwaite is part of that. He came back 2 weeks late
2 weeks
because
after.
of the Euro, under-21 Euro. So therefore, he's 2 weeks behind everyone else. He's got to get that 2 weeks. Now, he got some the other day, and that might be the last piece. But I imagine that this team will take more of a shape after the international break, when he can settle them down, when he can get again more minutes in them, when he can maybe get another behind closed doors game, get that final little bit. And again, we say this every year. The first few games are just patching it. It's mad because we always expect first game of the season, that's your team. But it's not, because of the transfer window, because of Everton's financial situation that a lot of clubs share. You're not bringing your players until late. First few games are just an extension of the pre-season. You have to just get through them. You have to almost build up to that first international break, and then get to the second international break, and then that's when almost like the proper league season starts, where everybody is fully up to it. Everyone's being bedded in. You've had your 2 international breaks, so there's So for me, it'll certainly be when we come back from the break that we'll start to see more of our concrete team. And I think that's why Michael Keane's in it right now, is because of that. Sunday
might change the back four for the following week if Villa click. But saying that, Everton, and listen, there's chalk and cheese between Fulham and Aston Villa. But they had very little against us. They had almost nothing against us last week, didn't they? Villa, I expect it'll be a much bigger task for Everton to keep them down, keep them out at the weekend. Everyone will, be a different type of game, and it might be. We've seen this with many teams before, and we've said it on so many different occasions. The team that starts the season changes and is never the team at the end of the season. And right now, like you just said there, he might feel that. Although Branthwaite, they like the look of him, and he did say this the other day, didn't he? He might feel that he wants that full programme done, and then he might put him in next to Tahi, depending on what we're doing. If Everton are keeping clean sheets every week, then you'll have to wait his chance. Because we didn't even keep one on Saturday when they didn't do anything. So we will get a chance, I imagine, quite soon.
The other side of it is as well, especially for someone like Branthwaite, if you have got deficiencies, you're learning on the job, you've got to be fit. You've got to be able to cover that up with being as fit as you can possibly be. Yeah. And I think if you're a fit player, if you're a very fit player, you're tuned into the game all the time. They're saying this all the time about fitness. When you're not fit, it's your concentration that goes fit. When you can play for 90 plus minutes and you are supremely fit for that entire time, you don't have to worry about all those other things, those recovery runs, all those other things that come with being fit. Can I get back? When you're fit, it's like that. It's like a thing you don't have to worry about. You're just playing footy, and you concentrate on getting back.
Touch is good. Yeah. You don't pick the ball away cheaply. Your decision making's better.
Of course it is.
It's all of that
Your
stuff.
decision making is the first thing that goes when you're not fit. Yeah. That's why when we talk about players who are not fit, there's sharpness, and that sharpness normally is like little things like they let the ball roll under their feet, or they don't see the fella behind them because their awareness. It's tiredness, isn't it? Think about when you're tired.
Yeah.
Anyone tired, all those things. People, don't drive when you're tired and all that kind of thing. It's because you can't fully focus on what you're doing. So I think it'll be a case of getting Branthwaite as fit as he can.
Fair play, mate. Everton have bid £12 million, according to a lot of reports, for Che Adams. Again, we've discussed this quite a few times this summer. It's always one that we thought they'd go back to because it seems the easiest one to do, and Everton do seem to go to the easiest thing they can do. Yes, there was other strikers they could have gone for. Beto, people were getting all excited, but dealing with the Pozzos is very difficult when they keep changing the goalposts, so that was always going to be a tough one to get over the line. Daka, Iniacho at Leicester were two other options. Everton have seemingly either decided against it or they want more money or whatever. So we're at Che Adams. Where are you? Where are you with Che Adams? Che Everton Adams.
Probably where I've been all the time. I think he's a good Premier League striker in terms of he's got a lot of the attributes. Of course, he doesn't score a lot of goals, so there is that thing of like where Maupay was this time last year. I seen a thing on the Athletic saying in terms of how close is he to Dominic Calvert-Lewin from how they were. I think it was players who played over 700 minutes and was younger than 28. He was 95% match to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, which is hugely important. Can he play in the channels? Can he hold the ball up? Can he play with his back to goal? Yes. So is that, yes, we can sit here and go, oh, it's his size and all that. Of course, that is going to be an issue. But it's actually the other things of Maupay's game. It's not necessarily his size. You can't just look at his size and say, that's the reason why he's not like Dom. He's not like Dom because he's not like Dom. He doesn't play the same way. He wants to come off. He wants to drop into midfield. He wants to turn and spin. He wants the game in front of him. Dominic Calvert-Lewin doesn't do that. Dominic Calvert-Lewin gets the ball and then gets himself into the box, lets the team get higher up the pitch. So it gets you can forgo playing out from the back. You can forgo playing it through midfield. You can get back to front very quickly when you need to. And this Everton team does need to do that because it hasn't got good enough footballers to play through opposition. Not quick enough footballers. The passing's not good enough. Sharp enough. You need that extra bit. So if he's the kind of player who also presses from the front, who can stop a team from playing out from the back. He's big, he's physical, he's muscular, he's got a little bit of pace about him. He's part of a decent Scotland squad as well, which shouldn't be forgotten as well. So I think for that middle striker, I think where we are right now, a lot of people can turn the nose up at this. But again, it's that if you're looking for someone who has played in the Premier League, who has if financially is the right fit, who is at the stage of his career where you're looking at the next thing, obviously playing in the Championship. For me, he ticks a lot of boxes. Now, those boxes aren't the boxes we want to tick as such, but they are the boxes where we are now. It allows Chimiti to just get on quietly without any pressure on him. And I think for someone he'll start games, he'll come off the bench. And I actually think he might be someone that we, as Evertonians, we will appreciate how hard he works and how much he's doing. So for me, I think for the money, I think it makes sense.
I was getting this up on my phone. So Adams' non-penalty XG over the course of his career is 28.9 and his goals are 25.
Okay.
Neil Maupay's non-penalty XG over his Premier League career 35.5 and his goals 22. So Adams is a much better finisher.
Scores,
the stats say
more
that.
Of his chances.
He's not amazing, obviously, but he's in terms of his finishing, he's better, and he fits the profile. And he works hard, doesn't he? He works hard.
His middle name is Everton. I think you can't eliminate that from the conversation.
What did we do? Would he be the person I would have chosen? No, because I'd have got Acor Adams. I told you this for $4.5 million. They've been done the other week. There's other strikers out there. Boniface would have been the one I'd have gone for. but we didn't. So there's no point stamping our feet now. Who is available? Patson Daka, we spoke about yesterday. Well, people didn't seem stuck on him yesterday. Some liked the idea of it, others didn't. In Yacho, some like him, some don't like him. He can't play up in a one on his own. Doesn't work hard, but he scores goals. There's a way that Everton are going to play. Everton, we're all crying out for a calm season. We're crying out for a bigger link to Dominic Calvert-Lewin if he isn't there, so we can play in a similar way. We're asking our centre forward to get hold of the ball and bring other people into play and push people back and press from the front and work hard. And Adams does all of that. Yeah. He's quicker than Mopai. So, yeah, of course, I'd rather us go and get a young Brazilian striker who's going to come in and get 30 goals and be dead exciting, but we're not at that stage. We are where we are, and I think people still don't understand where Everton are and still won't accept what is realistic.
Here's a question for you, right? We talk about Brighton all the time. We talk about the policy, having young players. Evan Ferguson is going to be the next one. Looks a brilliant talent, right? Why is Evan Ferguson, how is he being allowed to progress the way he's being progressed through Brighton?
Because they're steady.
No, but a player.
Oh, because of the likes of Danny Welbeck.
And right.
Danny Welbeck, when he went there, everyone was going,
would
Danny Welbeck.
Would anyone have had Danny Welbeck? This is the point, right? I remember when he first went there and I've seen him early on, and there was just seen a couple of games and thought, wasn't scoring goals. Hasn't got a prolific goal scoring record there.
Not at all.
But he suits the way they play, and he's allowed those younger players now to come in, and he's starts some, doesn't start some, comes off the bench. But he was the right player at the right time for them to go in, and I don't think that. I think we would have turned our nose up. Now, listen, forget the conversation about whether Danny Welbeck is better than Che Adams. By the way, that's not the conversation I'm having. What I'm saying is that that's the point. You've got a Schmitty, you've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, you've got a young lad who people have been saying for ages, right? We want a Brighton style thing. We want to bring young lads in, right? But don't put pressure on them, because the lad we've just bought is a very young player who's gonna have to get up to not only to the level of the Premier League, but the physicality of the Premier League, and that's going to take time. That's not you seek things of people who are like, stick him on or play him in, and you're like, what world do you live in? Taking a 19-year-old lad from Portugal who's barely played any game, and you just think he can just adapt to the Premier League overnight. Che Adams is that player, is that one that people will go, he doesn't really score goals, or he's not like a top player. It's like, well, we're not trying to sign a top player. We haven't got top player money. And actually, you're saying, well, go and buy that young kid from Austria or whatever. Well, we've just done that. Whether it's the right young kid, doesn't matter. We've just done that. We need someone who's in between, who understands the Premier League, who can come in and play those games, take advantage of when Dominic Calvert-Lewin isn't ready to play a game. Hopefully that means that Dominic Calvert-Lewin's on the bench, because he just, for that game, Everton have gone, no, you play two and then you drop down for one, or whatever it is. And I think that's the way you've got to think about it, rather than being just so dismissive of, he's just rubbish. Like, people are always asking, why aren't we doing it like this club? Or why aren't we? Well, what if we are doing it like that club? Because as I said, I guarantee if we'd gone for Danny Welbeck, people would have turned their nose up. They would have turned their nose up. And that's listen, that's fine. That's an opinion. But when you look at how it's played out for Brighton, he has been a perfect signing. A perfect signing, because they knew what they had behind the scenes. They knew they needed time. They knew they needed a player. They knew they needed, to bring this kid in quietly and have that Premier League ready striker with experience. Okay, Che Adams is not that quite experienced. Hasn't played for Arsenal, hasn't played for Manchester United, but he is that experienced striker that obviously we are looking to bring in. And he went trajectory. Birmingham done well. Southampton give him a chance. And remember when Southampton got him, and there was a lot of things linking us with him at the time, and I don't think he was ready at the time. But he's 27, just turned 27. And I think he is that mould of player. 27 and 125 in the league for Southampton. Again, it's not an amazing, but it's not an amazing team. And if we get him, apparently Sean Dyche wanted him at Burnley when he left Birmingham as well. So he'll know all his attributes. So I think that's the way you got to look at it and just think, is there a plan for him? And if it gives time for a Schmitty to come through, then that's what we need, rather than putting loads of pressure on a young kid who's just not ready to go. And it gives Tom Cannon time as well. Gives him time to go. He's the next one, and it gives him chance to go on loan, so he can spend the season on loan, and then he can come back, and then maybe next summer he can be ready to take that next step. And we'll have to see, and that's how we've got to look at it, isn't it? Rather than just, and that's what they thought Mopai was going to be. Sadly, it hasn't worked out like that because he's just not the same profile. And I think they were clutching at straws. The Che Adams thing, it actually does feel like they've had a proper think about it because he fits the mould.
Well, they looked at Adams last year, didn't they? Yeah. And he couldn't get him. Southampton with adamant that he wasn't going to go. And so they went for Mopai, and that's the way it is. Yeah. It's difficult because I understand people can't get massively excited over someone who hasn't got a good goal scoring record when we need a striker. But by the same token, we've got to be better than what we've had. I've said it lots of times on here. I've done shows on Premier with other strikers who Everton could have gone for, but we haven't. So there's no point stamping our feet. This lad, and we'll probably end up paying a bit more than 12 million for him, to be fair. Probably more like 14 million or whatever it is. But he's an international footballer. He's played in the Premier League. He's played for Southampton. Do better with some slightly better players. Who knows? And if he allows Dominic Calvert-Lewin, like you say, to come out the firing line, if he allows Yusuf Chimiti that little bit of extra time to grow where we don't have to panic about playing him, then it might be And
by the way, are we sitting here have we got the balloons out or anything? No, we're sitting here going, as a football club, this is where we are right now. And it's listen, Liverpool have just had to buy their 12th choice centre-back. That's how it is. That's how sometimes you've got to look at it and think, where are we with 2 weeks to go? Are we in for people? We've looked at Iheanacho. We've looked at Daka. We've looked at Che Adams. We've probably looked at loads more. We've put them all in. They've probably sat round and they've probably discussed them and they've probably decided. Don't forget, we haven't put a bid in for any of these players. So it's not like we've gone, we've missed out on him and missed out. They've all been rumours and Everton are looking at and Everton inquired. Now this one seems to be the first one where Everton have gone, right, this is who we're bidding for. It seems. So Everton have obviously, the manager and the recruitment team and everyone else have obviously sat round with a couple of weeks to go and have made a decision. And this is the decision they've made. Now listen, if we get him, we'll have to see what happens. But they have obviously thought long and hard about this one. Because this has been a name that, like Baz has just said, has been going on for a long time. This is a name that's been around all summer. Very much like Nonto was, very much like Jack Harrison was. These are names that have been around all summer as targets that Everton were going for. As I said, are we gonna get the ticker tape parade out for them? No. But that's not where we are as a football club. Sadly, we all want the big, sexy signings. We all want, when you open that pack in FIFA, or EA24, you're delighted, but that's not where we are as a football club. So if he comes in, I imagine he'll work his backside off for us, and hopefully he gives us what we need, even when Dominic Calvert-Lewin's not available.
That's all you can. What can you do? Do you know what I mean? We can all, like I said, we can stamp our feet and go, he's not good enough, or he's not this, or he's not that. But the reality, at some stage, you've got to look at the reality of the whole thing. And the reality of the whole thing is we haven't got tons of money. There isn't that many top strikers out there. There's not that many out there who we can get. We can take a gamble. If we took a gamble, like the other sides are like Acor Adams. And by the way, Acor Adams isn't going to Bournemouth. He's just signed for Montpellier. Tyler Adams is going to Bournemouth. If we'd have signed Acor Adams for $4.5 million and he'd have come in and didn't settle and didn't score goals and then Everton were in trouble near the bottom of the league, people would be going, why have you gambled our future on a player you didn't know and all that? So we can't preach one thing and then moan when they try to do it for the other. We haven't got the money. We've just done a transfer show before on More Than a Game talking about Chelsea. Chelsea have got all the money and still haven't bought a centre forward because there's not that many guarantees out there. And all right, they're operating in a different field than we are.
But there aren't that many centre forwards out there.
No, without it being a gamble.
No, but they're not, are they?
No, but
it's a dying art.
I'd list 5 and 6, but without being a gamble, there isn't. We could get Patson Daka, who look great in Austria. I'd actually like Everton to get him because I think he's quick. But his record in the Premier League's 5 goals and 4 goals. Yeah. Now, I think he's got more capability than that? Absolutely. But it would still be a big gamble. The thing with Patson Daka is he can't play with his back to goal and engage defenders, and he doesn't press the way that Che Adams does. Iniacho, good finisher, but doesn't do all the other stuff. But still, he doesn't score tons of goals either. Go and look at the records. Che Adams got us a goal every 300 minutes in the Premier League, and that's supposed to be all right because that's how you do it, don't you? Minutes wise, not necessarily games. So it's tricky. It's a tricky one. Do you know what I mean? It's in another world we'd be going for people like Romelu Lukaku because we'd have the funds to get him and all that, but we haven't. His wages would destroy us.
What I do actually like about Che Adams is his career path. Oldby Town, Easton, Sheffield United, Birmingham City, Southampton. That career path of playing non-league football, playing in the United Counties League, the Northern Premier League, playing against
very Jamie Vardy,
Ashton United and FC United, playing against these teams, going up, having that hard work. As I said before, now he's in the Scotland squad. It's a squad that is built on very much a team ethic of, there's no superstars. I think they're important grounding for being for an Everton team where it is like now. Because we can talk all we want. Said this loads of times about what we want and what we want to be. But you're only going to get where we want to be by being smart and being hard working
and stable
and having stability. And yes, there's all these players that are out there, and I imagine they've got much better goal records playing in their countries, and you could get them. They're great, but you also need that little bit of Premier League, know-how. And I do believe a lot of this is the premeditation of what's happened with Mopai.
Yeah. It's made it worse.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Mopai thing has made it worse.
It's buying a player who's the backup, who people feel is nothing like Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And listen, I can't tell anyone any difference. I can't, sit here and tell those people they're wrong for having that opinion. You just hope that Everton have done the homework, and out of the players, there's that as we've mentioned, Daka, Iheanacho, these kind of players, that this is the one that they feel is going to give us the most value for money, and is going to be the one who can come in and do what Dominic Calvert-Lewin doesn't do. Well, doesn't do because he isn't playing, essentially.
Jakey boy, I listen, honestly, right? Are we sitting here made up? No. Right? But when you're looking for a third striker, an in-between striker between Dom, let's be honest, if Dominic Calvert-Lewin's fit, he's our number 9, he plays. So Che Adams will be sub. Yusuf Chimiti will be behind him. Moni, That's the way it is. Last season, we had Mopai and that was it. So we're talking about having 3 this year. Right? And Tom Cannon will go out on loan. That's the way it is. But people were losing their heads over Gyökeres. Gyökeres would have got 5 goals in the Premier League. Watched him the other week at Goodison. He was rubbish. He ran around. He was rubbish. Right? He will go and do all right in Sporting. But he might have come into the Premier League and got 5 goals. Joel Perreault at Swansea's got 40 goals in 2 seasons or something. No one wants him because he's got no pace whatsoever and he's not good in the air, but he scores goals in the Championship. But people would have been happier if we'd have gone and bought him for 20 million and then he comes up and gets 5 goals, but he can't do all the other stuff. We aren't where we want to be. I want Everton to be at the top end of that market. I want Everton to go and buy Gift Orban. But if Gift Orban come in and took time to settle, but didn't play the way we needed them to play, what would happen then? People would be moaning then. There's no ideal fit. I haven't got the answer. Ped hasn't got the answer. You haven't got the answer. The only thing we can do is look at the reality of where we are. That's all we're saying. I'm not telling you to be happy with it. You don't have to be happy with it. But like Ped said before, Danny Welbeck's a brilliant example because I wouldn't have wanted Danny Welbeck at Everton. No chance. 7 goals a season. But what he does for Brighton, he fits what they do brilliantly and it helps the team. If Mopai would have got 7 and 8 goals last season, we wouldn't, we might have been a bit disappointed he didn't get more, but we'd have all gone, that's kind of what he gets. So what do we expect? But he didn't, he got 1. And if he got 7 or 8 goals last season, we wouldn't have been in the position we were in. And maybe we'd have been a bit higher up. Maybe we could have attracted a better player, or maybe we would have had a bit more money to go after another player or whatever. The fact is, we've done this show every day for weeks. And so many times in the comments I've seen, we aren't signing anybody. No one's signing. We've already brought 4 in and this will be the 5th. So at what point do people go, yeah, I was massively wrong.
And we'll bring another one on after that.
Mate, I said right at the start of this, and people going, you're wrong, we'll bring 6 in. And that's what Everton will bring, at least 6 players in this window. So again, I've been proven right. But most people will have thought that because we needed it. The reality is, I keep going over it to hammer it because I would love us to get Gift Orban because he's someone who scored a lot of goals. But he is still a gamble from another country. Che Adams wouldn't have been near the top of my list, of course he wouldn't have been. But I'm also looking at everything. If Everton get Nonto or Bakayoko, say, as well as Adams, then we'll be left in them areas with Che Adams, Yusuf Chimiti, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Well, there's 3 strikers to choose from. And we'll have Danjuma, McNeil, Harrison and Nonto Bakayoko, say, if we were able to get one of those 2. That's a lot of attacking options. And we've still got Alex Iwobi. That's way more than Everton had last season. Well more. Which means they'll do better. Which means we'll finish higher up. More money. Next summer, who's to say Everton don't have their eye on someone else and Che Adams isn't moved on? Because they've got someone else come. And Dom's played the whole season and looks sharp again. And Adams is like, yeah, I want to go and play somewhere else or whatever. So we just are where we are. I think that's what we're trying to say. We are where we are right now. You don't have to love this transfer, but if you're talking about a framework that the manager wants to play in, Che Adams is more likely to fit into that than some of the other choices. And that includes, I want Patson Daka, I've said it before, but he is a big gamble. His goal record in England doesn't say, yeah, get him and he'll get 20, because he hasn't done it. Did in Austria, he was brilliant. He's someone who is probably better in a 2 as well, and we don't really play in a 2. So, I'm probably off balance there, but I just think there is someone in there waiting to explode and has a better capability maybe or a higher ceiling than Adams. But I can see why why they're going to go for Che Adams, absolutely.
You've got to look at the financials of the situation as well. I mean, it's dead easy to say, well, it's just 12 million. The deal might be a couple of million up front as well. And Ian Atchell,
I think it'll settle on about 4. I think it'll be a bit more than 12, but it is.
No, what I mean is though, up front.
Oh, the up front, so
it's
2 or 3 million.
You know, people like Iheanacho or
and he's on 90 odd grand a week, by the way.
Leicester might be looking for more up front, and that's maybe that's what, you know, Daka they could go 10 million for Daka, but they might want half of it up front, and if Everton can't give that half up front, look at all the deals so far this year. Loans and frees and who knows what we've put down for Chimiti. Do you know what I mean? It's like the finances are very, very tight. Very, very tight. And obviously we want to get players out, obviously. Holgate and Damari Gray getting the manager. Didn't mention either of them in any kind of case. I mean, you know, because he doesn't want them. He doesn't want them. It's as simple as that. He wants them out. He wants the money for them. Doesn't want to deal with them. So, as I said, listen, if it goes through, he's a player I imagine the manager wants. And then, again, you live or die by your decisions, don't you? You live or die, Kevin Felwell, you live or die by those decisions. Because actually, there is a little bit of choice. Mightn't be the choice we want. It mightn't be, you know, this all amazing, you know, I don't even know why we mention Chelsea in any conversation. It's like talking about like going to Preston or going to the moon, isn't it?
Just talk about them because they've got
but
a wealth of money, and they haven't been able to buy probably the thing they really need.
The simple fact is if we have got choice of 3 or 4, and we have taken, by the way, we have taken our time, then, because this is by the way, again, this is the other thing. This is when we were always going to do our business. You know, we can sit here, you know, we can sit here and there will have been shows when, you know, we would have been getting, certainly myself would have been getting impatient about the situation. But this was always when we were going to do our business. This is the scrappy end. This is you know, when the frees are available and the players do suddenly lose a couple of million, or other clubs are willing to take less up front for a player because they're desperate to get rid of them. Especially teams being relegated. They stick out the chest. But as soon as that season starts and the reality, look at Leeds. They took a point from the first 2 games. Reality suddenly hit them. And gone, we need better players. How are we going to get better players? Get him off the books, sell him. And all right, Southampton might be similar. You know, they took 4, but they've drew the first home game 4-4. Suddenly they've gone, actually, this league isn't going to be a doddle. It isn't going to be a walkover. And you've seen in the last week or so, up to that week before the season started, they basically had the same season, their team they finished the season with. Suddenly there's been a mass exodus.
And he was saying no one's going, and then the next
suddenly there's been a war prowess. Have you possibly had, you know, the other kid who we've been linked with apparently going to France.
Livramento.
So there's been, you know, the reality hits when the season actually starts. And I think that's the market we're playing in, obviously. And it is what it is, isn't it? And it might be a case that you know, we start seeing a few leave us as well. There might be the likes of a Wobie, but
a few people mentioning Richarlison.
Richarlison is Tottenham Hotspur's starting striker. He ain't going, I don't think, from being Spurs' starting striker to going on loan to Everton.
No,
in the space.
Not yet,
it's just not happening.
Not yet.
It's just not happening.
It'd take a year.
Yeah.
You might get him next summer on loan, but right now, you're not getting him. Postecoglou, whether he plays him or not, he's not going to let him out because he's, like Pez just said, he's starting. He can do every position up front in the final third. He can play wide right, wide left, and through the middle. So even if he becomes sub because they get someone else in, they're not letting him out on loan. Not a chance. Love him. Now, leave everyone else where they are and get him, but it ain't happening. Same as I'd love Romelu Lukaku, but it ain't happening. His wages end our football club. So that's the reality. That's just, sadly, that's the reality of it. Few people saying Sims is better than Adams.
Doesn't play for Everton, so it doesn't matter.
And he wasn't better. He's not better.
Oh, I know.
He might end up better than, say, Adams in a few years. He's not right now. Go and look at some of the Coventry fans already. Now, I hope he does well, Ellis, because, you know, he will score goals eventually for them and he'll settle down. But some of their fans are going mad because he hasn't looked good in the opening couple of games. So, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see, won't we? Yeah. And I listen, and I know people are going, well, he's not going to be good and he's not going to be this and he's not going to be that. Someone's mentioned Marcus Bent. Absolutely. We finished 4th with Marcus Bent. He got 5 goals.
He was just the springboard for the rest of the...
Everyone else done well. Marcus Bent was perfect for our team. And what did we do? We got impatient with that and went and bought James Beattie.
Yeah.
Because Beattie had a better record in the Premier League. Goals, Beattie come in.
Didn't fit.
And what Everton did well didn't work. We should have gone on and we didn't go on.
But we rectified it quite quickly.
No, we did. Moyes done it very quickly and we end up getting Yakubu and things
AJ,
like that.
Though. AJ.
So, but that's the thing, is that sometimes it doesn't, you get something and it fits the way you play and it works. Like Ped said, if we are a little bit, and I feel the same way, by the way, a little bit like Neil Maupay, because that hasn't worked.
You feel like Neil Maupay?
No. It makes it worse because you go, well, we had Maupay and he come in and done nothing. So Adams will do nothing. But Adams is a different player. We're not sat here going, this is a brilliant signing. It's a brilliant signing. We're not saying that. What we're saying is we can understand the signing because what he does fits what Sean Dyche wants. But what do we do? Do we sack the manager? Because if you're really truly behind the manager, then you have to let him do what he wants and build a team the way he wants to. Don't get him play away. If you're not behind the manager, okay, fair enough. You can have a go at him and you can have a go to signings and all that. But you can't be behind Sean Dyche fully and yet question. Because Sean, make no mistake about it, if Everton gets Che Adams, Sean Dyche he's all over this because this suits Sean Dyche. He said himself, Schmidt is literally one of those, like, we'll see how he goes. He's for the future. He's kind of said that, hasn't he? Come out and sort of said it today as well. This is all I think looking at it now. I think Ped said this a few times as well. Well, he has said it, but when we got Benitez and that. Everton are just trying to keep their head above water till he get into the new stadium. That's just the way it is. And I didn't want to accept it at the time because we were at a point where we were still talking about challenging for Europe. And we really should have been. That year that Carlo's only full season, Everton missed out on Europe by 1 win. I know we finished 10th, but we were 1 win from 7th. So the next year we should have been in the hunt for European football. We got Rafa Benitez and it all went west, didn't it? And we've been, we've gone the other way. No striker. Yeah, then give me a viable option. Forget about Che Adams. Tell me who Everton could get for the money they've got now who scores goals, who guarantees goals. You're talking to someone, by the way, who is obsessed with strikers, who looks at strikers all over the place, looks at their XG, watches. So tell me who Everton can get right now for the money, for like, say, 12, 13 million, who guarantees us goals. Don't say Joel Perreault. Do not say Joel Perreault. Che Adams last season in the Championship got 22 goals. So, but tell me who's a viable option for that. Because everyone's saying not him, not him, not him, not him. Tell me who it is. Do you know what I mean? It's dead easy to go, no. Well, who should they get? Well, I don't know. It's not my job. Well, their job is to look at everything, isn't it? And to look at data and how it fits and all that. Iheanacho doesn't do what they want him to do. I like Kalichi. Think he'd score goals, but he wouldn't. 95 grand a week. Jamie Vardy, what did he get last year? 5 goals, did he? 5, and he takes penalties. Let's have a look.
They all got much of a muchness, didn't he?
There's a reason why they all got relegated.
Yeah,
because they didn't score goals. Jamie Vardy's boss, but he's diminishing returns. He got 3 Premier League goals last season in 37 games, Jamie Vardy. So Che Adams scored more goals than him. Okay. Let's have a look. Who was the other suggestion?
Did any of our strikers get as many goals as Che Adams last season? And I know that's not the bar.
Nope. Of course he didn't. He got more than all of our strikers on his own. Well, he just did. I mean, that's just a fact. That's just a fact. Kelechi on 95 grand a week got 5 Premier League goals, the same as Che Adams last season. And I like Kelechi, I do. And I like Patson Daka because I think he's got goals in him. But just, and again, just to reiterate, we aren't saying that this is amazing and woohoo, we can't wait and all that, but it's sensible what they do. Callum Wilson would be great.
He would be great.
He's injured all the time, well, regularly, but he's not leaving Newcastle for Everton. No. Because why would you? They need him. He's in the they're in the Champions League. They need him. Yeah, Karim Conte is a gamble, a massive gamble. Looks good. He's raw. He's a gamble. He falls into the same boat as Akor Adams for me. Gift Orban, all of these players. Following Balogun, yeah, Arsenal want 50 million.
50.
Beto, Everton have tried to get Beto since January. They want 25 plus 9. Big wages, and the Pozzos don't want to sell him. Ollie Watkins. Okay, if we're playing just any striker, then fine.
Oh no,
We're trying to do thingy, aren't we? We're trying to be sensible, aren't we?
Maybe if
Simon Akor Adams has gone to Montpellier, scored 2. What, you got 2 on his debut? He's already gone. It's done. It's finished.
Maybe if the manager had sold Anthony Gordon last summer, like he should have, maybe we would have got Ollie Watkins.
Well, that was the thing, wasn't it? We lit. Okay, Beto out of our price range now. Balogun out of our price range now. Bula Dyer, I don't know. We were speaking to Salernitana. I don't know whether that's too much for us.
Broja, Chelsea probably wouldn't want to get Broja now because of what's happened to Nkunku. So
the rich Terem Moffi, 51 million. They want. West Ham had already inquired about him. There's only one name that is sensible in all of this. Absolutely sensible.
Gary Goals.
Yeah. And it's there.
Yeah,
it's there. Thin Richmond is come up with the only one. Broyer's coming off a cruciate knee injury as well, Brian. Yeah. Chuba Akpon's gone to Ajax. Already done. Jordan Larson, massive gamble. You are. Well, there is such things as instalments, but why do you think Everton haven't been able to? They've tried to get. If we'd have got Beto, we weren't paying the 29 million or whatever that they wanted. It would have been like 4 or 5 million up front, but it was more than that, which is why we haven't been able to get him. And Chris has said Broyer's going nowhere. Yeah, they ain't gonna they haven't got another striker. Jamie Tart, possibly Jamie Tart, but then he's proven he's not loyal, hasn't he? So
you haven't watched the third season?
No, I'm about to. Carl is fuming over Che Adams. The complete incompetence and mess of the club and our recruitment team's unacceptable. Sound? No problem. No one's going to protest outside Finch Farm to stop Che Adams coming to Everton. You might, to be fair, but I can't see you getting much traction with that, to be honest. Dan says, I'd rather play Mopai than Adams. Okay. Fair enough.
Good for you.
Everton Viking on Adams thing, I'm truly 50-50. We shouldn't bid any more than 15. Yeah, I agree with that. I do agree shoots our style more than Mopai, but there isn't a huge upgrade. I also agree with that. Still have my doubts about his goal conversion and how he, with balls crossed into him, scores quite a few headers if you go and watch some of his stuff. I can see why people don't want him. Absolutely we can. We're not saying you shouldn't. We're just trying to offer reasons why it kind of probably fits. But I do believe he'll get 6 or 7 goals. Yeah. Stephen Lamb says, I know the mess we're in, but years ago we used to shop at Harrods, now we shop in Poundland. Yeah. But I actually think this Southampton lad will do okay for us. Yeah. Jonathan says, reckon 30 million net spend will be the window, and dependent on one player might be less. So far we've spent around 2. Che Adams for 12 to 15 will offset with Gray and Mopai sale, maybe back to 0. I can see one £25 million player coming in. Absolutely, and that'll be it, won't it? That's where Nonto or Bakayoko is. Kevin, is Friday off work tuning in live? Are you impressed with the moves we've made, considering we haven't moved Onana on like most of us expected to fund the window? Work to do, but it being impressive, assuming we get Shea across the line. They've done well, given they haven't had to sell Onana or Pickford. Could they have done better? Of course they could. Said that, but it's not gonna happen, is it? Blue Peter says one more boiler to fix off for 2 weeks. Off to Bulgaria on Monday. Oh, brilliant. After going to Villa with my lad on Sunday. Hope Dom starts and Branthwaite comes in. Love the Paul Maitland interview. I did send a message to Baz on Twitter. Cheers, mate. Peter, no, I don't believe Schmidt will be sub on Sunday, but I might be wrong. What he said today, if he wouldn't have said what he said today about him, I might have been hopeful that he'd be on the bench on Sunday, but I don't think so. But we've got 9 subs and he doesn't use them anyway, so there's no reason why, certainly for the likes of the Wolves game, he shouldn't be on the bench at home. Give him that feel.
Yeah.
But I don't know, this week might be a little bit too early for him. Eddie says, are we waiting to sign another winger before we let Gray go? Or do you just not think they've got the offer they want
for him? I think they'd be quite comfortable with what they've got. Yeah. He's not playing. What's the point?
He's not even in the squad.
He's not in the squad. What's the point?
Yeah.
No, I think once the offers come in for him.
Benjamin says Ghana is playing and played in the Euros, so really Branthwaite should be playing.
I don't think the difference is that there's players.
And Ghana played all the Euros, didn't he? Branthwaite only
that's
played.
Why he might be fitter though.
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Branthwaite only played the odd game, didn't he?
But also Ghana has to sort of play, doesn't he? He's having to play. Branthwaite doesn't have to play from the manager's point of view.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
and Ghana played last year. Branthwaite essentially
he's a new player for Dykes, isn't he?
So,
and all of us. Seen plenty. This is Dave. Seen plenty of Adams for Scotland. Far more suited to the role he'll be asked to play than Mopai. I think he'll end up being popular in a Marcus Bent way. Yeah, 12 million appears to be the end fee with add-ons. So the headline. I think it might be a bit more, but either way, it might fit it, mightn't it?
Mark Wood on the super chat says, "Why is Daka not coming? He's not even on the bench."
I don't know. Monaco want him, don't they? I don't know. We're desperate for a goal, and we get Shea up top. Say he's got 2 in 2 for Southampton. Say he comes in and scores a few goals.
Confidence is flowing.
Eddie says, I honestly think Shea Adams is a good fit. Looks like he's reliable, gives a lot of effort and gets a goal once in a while, brings others into play. Brandon says, you think Adams will be enough? Just feel it. Schmitty turns out need more development and time on loan, and a Dom injury be all we have. Got Dan Juma as well, haven't you? Plays through the middle. I don't know. You can't keep 6 strikers just in case 1 or 2 get injured, can you? It's just not that. We can't anyway. Jonathan says, I like Adams signing him plus Dan Juma, and Harrison will add 15 plus. And if we get another winger, you can get 5 plus more Dom being fitter, then goals shouldn't be an issue. Andy says, agree, need a solid foundation, a more balanced squad built from there. All signs are good so far, all improve the squad, going in the right direction. Will be slower first, but hopefully it'll accelerate by the time we get to Bramley Moor. Lee says, don't buy a striker, and Nonto for 25, spend 37 million on a striker with big wages. But who though?
It's not happening, no, is it?
Who though, mate?
It's not happening. It's just not happening.
Baz Shea Adams doesn't guarantee you goals either. He doesn't. But what he guarantees you is 5 or 6, which he gets every year. I'm the one who's always on about buying players from Austria, and I've been talking about Acor Adams all summer. Surely you understand what I'm saying. Jay says happy with Shea. Mitrovic fits the profile and he's offered 50 million to Saudi, isn't it? Josh says, is there absolutely no scope to scrape together 30 million and take a huge risk on Lukaku? Wages though, mate, we might be able to raise money to buy him, maybe, but his wages, he's on 300 grand a week and he wants 200 grand a week, which is why the Juve and the Inter deal hasn't gone through. We can't afford £200,000. We just couldn't kill. Premier League. Don't forget, we've got a charge coming up in October. If we took Rom, it'd destroy us.
It's like saying I want to go on holiday and then going looking at 5-star hotels when really all you can afford is a B&B, isn't it? You know you can't afford it. You know you can. Booker's Visual says it's just poor scouting. Well, maybe it's just scouting at the level that we're at, and that's what people don't like to admit. Sadly, is where we are.
It's horrible to admit it. Everyone's right. They should be looking at these up-and-coming players, and we should be looking at strikers who can get you 15, 20 goals a season. There's not loads of them about right now, but that's what we should be looking. So we're looking at potential. But Benjamin says Che Adams would have scored at least one against Fulham. So on that basis, I'm all for the signing. Listen, he might. Who knows? If he comes in and does what he normally does, he'll get 6 or 7 goals. He'll be one of Everton's top scorers in recent times. I want strikers that can get 20 goals, of course I do.
Yeah, we all do.
But that's just where we are, isn't it? Get Lukaku back on Klarna,
We're
says
not,
Conlon.
like, none of us are settling. I think we're just being realistic about where we are. We can be angry about where we are, by the way. There. And also understand where we are here when it comes to who we're buying. You can be angry of why we're in this situation and why it's not acceptable at a club like Everton Football Club are buying these kinds of players. But then you've got reality over here, and that's where we have to just be right now. The club, people at the club can't sit there being angry that they've only got this small pot of money. They have to just work with it, because that's life to them. You know.
Marco says Che Adams is just another Gray and Townsend. Well, they both come in and got 7 goals in the first season. So if that's the case, then that'll do better than what we have, can we? Yeah. We can't buy Beto, Mr. Blue Skies. Pozzos are just not playing ball. Everton, listen, I will always criticise the recruitment because it's been terrible for years. But if you cannot buy a player because a club won't sell him to you, what do? We haven't got money. We haven't got the money to buy Beto or to buy, and I don't even know the other strikers either. I honestly don't know if we're not operating in this level, who can we got? Like Gift Orban's literally the only one I can think of, and now Ghent apparently want 30 million for him. Right now he might be. He's got 41 goals in 48 games. Looks sound. That looks brilliant. And a couple of years ago, we probably would have been able to get him. But right now, when we're looking for a certain thing, I'd be made up if Everton went. In fact, we're going after Orban. I'd be delighted. Yeah. But I honestly don't.
I honestly think, genuinely, I honestly think, and to wrap up now because we've got to go and do the preview, is if we were having a conversation about Iheanacho, people would be saying, why aren't we getting Daka or Adams? If we were somewhat Daka, people would say, well, why aren't we getting Adams or Iheanacho? Honestly, we'd be having the same conversation, whoever we were getting. This is who Everton can afford, and who the other option, right? I'm just going to throw this out.
David G, absolutely agree with you. Why wasn't he brought in last week and played against Fulham? Yeah. Why? That's the thing I'm looking at.
Well, here's the other option. I'm just going to leave you with this one.
Go on.
How about we sign nobody then? How do you feel about that? How do you feel if we just don't sign anybody?
Loads told us, because we speak to people every day in the chat and in thingy. Loads said we weren't signing anybody. People were saying to me, I'll bet you anything, Ashley Young's the only player we sign. Well, if Adams comes, there's 5, and we'll definitely get another one. So that's 6. So I'm owed some pure dough or anything else that they want.
It is not nice. It is not pleasant. It is not where we want to be as a football club, but it is where we are as a football club. Everyone who watches this knows my feelings on the football club, right? But I have to just park that right for now, because it's like being annoyed at me car, right? That I don't like me car just when I'm about to go on a bloody big journey somewhere. You've got to just get on with it. I can't swap it for a Mercedes. I've just got to get on with it, haven't I, for right now? Ned would swap it for a Mercedes. I can't, right? You just have to get on with it, and we'll deal with that later. It is what it is, right? There you go. Right, we're going to do the match preview. So thank you to everyone for watching. Make sure you check that out when it comes out. Probably be out within the hour or so. because we're on it. So we'll see you later. Bye.